Hello, beloveds. Kirstin Hanson here, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Morning of the Dove. I am so glad to be with you today. Whenever you are finding this message is meant for you. This is our daily consecration, a time where we return our awareness to the eternal love of the divine presence. And I'm so glad you're with me. This week, we are speaking of the lineage of the rose. This is the Rose Lineage and Sophia, a living stream of holy wisdom. And I just love this topic because it is seeped in history. It has moved throughout Christian theology for so long, and yet is just now starting to get its recognition. And so today, beloveds, we will be working with this together. And as I've announced, starting December 8th, we will be coming live on YouTube and offering a 25-day Christ lighting the Christed light within. And we will also be offering a Patreon subscription that goes even deeper into the teaching. So welcome. This is the Church of Sancta Luma, the Holy Church of Wisdom, where we believe that we are not apart from God, but one with the living light. And so let's get started. Let's get started. Today we are talking about the rose, sub rosa, in the history of hidden wisdom. And we will go into our daily theme, but I want to give you a little background because the background is important when we talk of this. It's not just woo-woo. This has real meaning and significance in feminine theology. As a reverend, as a minister who ministers the sacred wisdom teachings of Sophia, they are biblical. They were in the Talmud. They were in the ancient texts. This is very real. So before we begin this series, it's important we understand why the rose has carried such sacred meaning across centuries. It's not a romance, it's not an ornament, but it's a spiritual wisdom that carried secrecy, sovereignty, and revelation. So before we begin, we're going to take a moment together to really allow us. We're going to go into our own sacred sub rosa, and I'll talk about what that means in a minute. So please join me in closing your eyes if you feel guided, and just settling into your body, just settling in. Taking a breath, acknowledging the living breath within you. The living breath within you, your natural breath, the way you breathe naturally. Becoming aware of yourself, and place your hand on your heart as an acknowledgement of the sacred temple that is within you, this holy temple, this holy dwelling place, the tabernacle, the temple, the cathedral, the basilica that resides within you, the mosque. It is within you. This is where the God presence is. And so we just open the space together today in deep gratitude that we have the opportunity to commune together in the living word and the living love of all that is. And may the glory of the dove kiss each one of us in the recognition of the unconditional love of the Most High, of the Most Divine. And so it is. And so we open our space, and we're going to talk about the rose in ancient symbolism for a second here. So what's important to know is long before Christianity, yes, there was a world before Christianity, before Jesus the man walked the earth. And the rose was the symbol of the Great Mother. The rose was the symbol of feminine mysteries. The rose was and is the sacred sexuality and creation power. Because of her petals, the 5 petals, which also align with the petals of Venus. It's considered the unfolding of the soul. And many ancient, ancient beliefs carried this in their teachings. And it is still considered the place that I was baptized as a Catholic and my communion took place was called St. Rose. So it is still among us in even some of the recognitions. The rose has always been the symbol of the initiated woman, of the holy woman. And I don't mean holy in a patriarchal sense. To me, we are all born pure. We are all born whole. We are all born the light. But see, the feminine, she carries the woman in a woman's body. She carries something. She is the one who also carries the spiritual intelligence, healing capacities, and anointings. Now, in history, sub rosa, under the rose, in particular an ancient rose, was a rose that was carved above a doorway, an altar, and a gathering space. And they said to meet in sub rosa. What it actually is what is spoken beneath the rose must remain sacred, untouched, unspoken outside of these walls. So, in other words, what is said here stays here, right? Like what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Same thing. This was secrecy for protection of the truth. Now, why is that important? Because in the ancient days, women were not allowed to study. Women were not allowed to have a relationship with God without her husband or without a man. Women were not allowed to enter into worshiping places. And in some countries, this is still a truth. So women would meet under the rose and they would study and they would meet in secret to participate in their connection with the divine. This is powerful. That is why the rose is awakening as we move into the age of feminine, because it represents feminine theology, feminine belief, feminine aspects of the divine, the feminine. And without the feminine realized in her fullest potential as the divine, even the masculine cannot flourish because you cannot have one without the other. So, under the rose, midwives shared women's knowledge, healers shared mystical medicine, mothers passed on forbidden wisdom, and priestesses, shared their teachings of the inner world. Now, early Christian mystics adopted the rose as a symbol of hidden revelation, which the teachings were not meant for the institutions. They were really meant for us, the females, This is ours. And if we continue to go forward, hold, we have a lot of dogs. Okay, so the dogs are comfortable. Now, let's talk about the Rose lineage. Because as you know, in Sancta Luma, we work with the teachings of holy wisdom, which in many belief systems are considered Sophia, the teachings of Sophia, Sophia wisdom. And or she who goes by 10,000 names, she who is present at the creation of all that is. Now, we know in teachings there is no feminine or masculine within the divine. That's a truth. But here within the human experience, we have feminine and masculine attributes. And to move into a sacred marriage, we must embody both and then union together and then union with the Holy Spirit. And Sophia was have been sent to us through as Holy Spirit, the living breath that was poured into everything. Now, this Rose lineage is not a bloodline. It's actually a frequency, but it is a lineage of teachings that many of us are called to. And within my near-death experience, Sophia was known to me, and I became intimate, and it became part of the path I am to walk and carry the Rose lineage. And I find it no mistake, even though I'm not a practicing Catholic, but I recognize the beauty in Catholicism that I was baptized and communionized in St. Rose. This is a frequency that has been carried by those whose hearts open towards divine truth, feminine wisdom, and embodied love. This is the root. The root is Sophia, and the embodiment is Magdalene. And the continuation is in every woman who says yes to truth. And I mean truth of the divine and truth of her own divinity. This is what it means to walk the Rose lineage. So I'm going to stop with this one, and you'll recognize that I've posted a second teaching today for Morning of the Dove. So if you go, there's two posted at the same time. Please go ahead and enjoy, because we're going to move right along for the next 11 days. And again, remember, please join me in the 25 days of the Christed path, because I will share more about my near-death experience and my experience with Christ, who I have known all of my life as an intuitive. Okay, beloveds, I will see you on the other side. I just wanted you to have a little background on the Rose lineage.